Good morning, how you doing? It's Phil Thatch, and this morning I'm here at Snoopers Rock. Haven't been here in a long time, long time. And look at this. There's Garrick Gillette from long way from here. I got to move it over there. He
Yeah,
is in
that's right.
face tracking mode. Anyway, and we are going to take some pictures off this beautiful bluff as the sun rises this morning. Today, in the spirit of Garrick Gillette, I am using my Nikon D850. So far, I have the 24 to 70 on there. I may put the 14 to 24 on in a minute. A lot of times I'll make a panorama from here, but today I'm using the winding river as my foreground leading up to the beautiful sunrise over the mountains. I'm shooting with the 24 to 70 at, I don't know how many millimeters. Hang on, let's see. 38 millimeters, f8, and I'm in aperture priority. I'm underexposing by 2 stops to kind of even everything out with the bright sky and the not so bright foreground. Using a 5-second timer. Okay, this is the first shot I'm sharing with you there from Snoopers Rock, and this is way before sunrise. This is 38 millimeters like you saw in the video clip, and this is 6 seconds at f8 ISO 64. Now this is the uncropped version, and I'm just kind of showing you the full version of it, but the version I actually like better is this version. This is the exact same shot, but this one is cropped to a 16 by 7. I often do 16 by 9, which would take up your full screen, and I like 3 by 1, which is even more narrow of a crop than this. But I liked all the color in the sky, the bright orange and then the yellow and almost some pink, and then it goes to blue. And I wanted to get all of that in, so I didn't do 3 by 1 on this one. But this is the first shot, and it is 6 seconds. So here's the next shot, and this one is the not cropped version. The time had passed a little bit, and this is 1.3 seconds to expose properly, or actually to expose 2/3 of a stop underexposed. If I had exposed it properly, the sky would have been blown out. And I like this one too. There's a little bit of color in the sky still. And let's see what my cropped version of this looks like. Here it is. I did this one in 16 by 7 as well. The sky's a little bit different, but for the most part, it's pretty similar to the original shot, just a much faster shutter speed. Okay, so this is the next shot. A little bit more time has passed. This is only a half a second. Remember, the first shot was 6 seconds and the second shot was 1.3. This one is a half a second, and I don't have a non-cropped version of it to present to you. This one's cropped to 16 by 9. As you can see, it's filling your screen. This is still the 38 millimeter composition that I showed you on the back of the camera. And I also made another version of this one, but this one I made it into a 3 by 1. There wasn't as much color in the sky in terms of it fading to blue. It was mostly orange, so that allowed me to crop it tighter to give that cheater pano look. And I like this one quite a bit. Previous times when I've come up here to Snoopers Rock and made photographs, I've kind of edited out these antennas here, but I kind of like the look of it. It gives a little bit more character to the top of the hill. I like that the light is lit in this shot. So that was a choice that I made. Well, the sun is starting to rise. I've gone down to f22 to try to get a sun star as the sun goes over the mountain. So here is the 29 millimeter shot. Stop down to f22 to get this light star or sun star here. And I like this okay. The sun star came out really good. It's got a ton of flare in it. And even with the lens hood on, and I even put my hand up to try to block some of the light that was hitting the lens, but there was just a ton of flare. And I've removed some of it that I could, and others of it I left in. This is okay. This is 1/25 of a second f22 ISO 64. The sun star shot was a partial success. Next, I turned my camera to the left where my camera had been facing the right most of the morning. And I turned my camera to the left and made this photograph of Garrick Gillette, YouTuber from Illinois. and he's up there on the mountain with his D850. We were both shooting D850s, and we both have Sunway Photo L brackets on them, so we were kind of twinsies. I think he's got a Sigma 24-70 2.8 on there. This is 24 millimeters, 1/20th of a second f8 and ISO 64. I was working on this shot, framing him up for quite some time, and then I got it just right, and I went, psst, and he looked over, and I snapped. Now this shot is looking back in the direction of the S curve there in the river. And on this one, I did a high dynamic range. I made 2 exposures, one to kind of get it where the sun is not too overexposed. It's basically cleared the mountain at this point. But I made this shot with the sun not too overexposed. And then I did another exposure where the sun was way overexposed, but you could see more light in the valley. And I combined both of those in Lightroom. So this is 38 millimeters, f8, ISO 64. I think the faster of the 2 exposures was 1/400th. I can't remember the other one. And it's okay. I'm not all that thrilled with it. I've got some shots coming up that I like better than this one. Look at all that sunshine. It is bright out here now that the sun has come up. Garrick and I have been just taking photo after photo. I'm kind of just taking the same shot over and over again as the light changes. And Garrick's switched to a 200 millimeter lens, a 70 to 200. And I don't know if any of my pictures are going to be good. I'll show them to you in just a minute. The one thing I do know is I've really enjoyed hanging out with Garrick this morning. That has been cool. And if you get a chance, you should check out his channel. A viewer of my channel named Woody Mallory actually turned me on to Garrick's channel years ago, and I've really enjoyed it. And you should check it out too. I'll put a link to his channel in the description. So now I've decided to keep the horizon out of the shot and just have the valley in the shot. I've zoomed in to 70 millimeters. This is cropped to 16:9. No width has been cropped, just to top and bottom to get it to 16:9. You can see lots of light coming in up here at the top left corner, and I love that. And you can see the light starting to shine a little bit on the vegetation down here on the right-hand side of the frame. There's still shadow here and sunlight here and shadow here. It's kind of an interesting shot. I love how calm the river was in all these shots, so it's just like a mirror. Really, really cool. This is 1/80th of a second. And so this was the first version of it I did where I just cropped some off the top and the bottom. But then I made another one where I cropped it a little bit in terms of width. You can see this one's not cropped at all in terms of width. And I cropped this same shot, a little bit of the width off of it to focus more on the S curve. And then same shot again, I cropped a little bit more off the width and got this that focuses really on the S. You can just really see the S in this. But I think my favorite is this last one where I went back to the full width of the shot, but I cropped it to 3:1 in this one. And I don't know, you may like the other ones better, but I think this is the one I like the best of this shot. So many different versions of this one shot. I love the dappled looking trees, and I'll talk more about that when I show you the next picture. So this is the last photo of the morning, and this is 1/200th of a second, and this one was 1/80th of a second. And you can see so much difference just a little bit of time makes. And I've changed the composition just a little bit. It's still 70 millimeters, but I've angled the camera up just a little bit. We're almost where the sky can be seen, but just barely it's cropped out or not framed in the composition. You can see a little bit of man-made stuff right here that you couldn't see in the previous shot. And this ridge, there's like a separate ridge along here that is clearly visible in this. And what I like about this is, you know, this is in the spring. This is not the fall, and it's early spring. So a lot of these trees are trees that lose their leaves in the winter, and they haven't gotten them back. So that's one color. And then there's also the dark green. These are pine trees that don't lose their leaves or needles at all. So they're another color. But nicely spaced out around this entire valley are trees like these that are starting to get their spring leaves, and they're just here and there, and the early young leaves are bright green. So that gives a nice dappled look to this entire valley. And this particular shot is cool because back here, you can see the reflection of the bright trees on the river, where on this shot, you really couldn't see a reflection in that area. So I like that about this shot. And I can't decide if this one's my favorite or if this one's my favorite, but it's one of those of the whole day. So normally at Snoopers Rock, I don't stay much after sunrise, and even this shot's not much after sunrise, but usually once the sun crests the hill, I'm done. But this turned out really good, and it has influenced me to want to go back in the fall and make this shot when the valley is full of multiple colors. Although this almost looks like fall because there's so many different shades of green and brown in the valley. What a beautiful location. It was very cool to go there on this morning. Well, we're about to head out. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Hit thumbs up if you don't mind. Subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see some more. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.